Good morning, everyone. It is another week, getting closer to Thanksgiving. We welcome you to the Diana White Show. We are live every morning, Monday to Friday, from 10:30 to 11:30, and then you can go on our website at dianawhitetv.webs.com to see the show that was uploaded for that day. But of course, you can also go on YouTube because it's goes up in about 3 hours or so. Anyway, this has been a very interesting weekend, I think, thanks to the Redeemer Lives, the gospel concert that was held yesterday, courtesy of Miguel and Dee. Great concert, and had a great time. Thank you so much for inviting me to be part of your venture. Anyway, I met some interesting folks there, and impressively enough, a lady walked up to the table, and she was none other than Commissioner Addie Green. But I always thought she was a very tall lady. And even though she's retired, you know her, you recognize her, you see her. And I said to her, of course, with my big mouth, I said, how come you look so short in person? And on television, you always look so high. She says, well, I've spent my career standing on a block. So it's so nice to meet people who are honest and, just willing to share. And she bought a book and was very supportive, and I trust when she reads it, she will let me know what she thinks. She's no longer commissioner because she retired, and a lot of people were sad when she retired, but I asked her, why did you retire? You used to look like you could go a lot more years as a politician. So she's now just doing that small area on 45th Street. I think, it's just a small neighborhood that controls a few things, and she won, and she is, of course, operating as a politician still. They still have their little city hall right there on 45th Street, but if you're really not looking for it, you really don't know that it's there. Anyway, I'll get some more information on that and let you know, okay? But I thought it was quite interesting to see someone who looks so tall all the time, and then you meet them and she's quite petite, so anyway, had a great time, and it was a wonderful experience, and I will continue to be going to events that I'm invited to share the book and the story with you. Everyone that hears the story is a tearjerker for them, and you just need to read the book. I find that a lot of our people just don't read, but you must read in order to expand your knowledge and your mind. It's not just the story of the book, talking about the negligence of the hospital in the book, but it's also teaching you a lot of other things about how great God is, and also the educational system, how you need to fight, and even your marriage, how you need to fight for that too. And all the things that go on when you have tragedy in your life. As T.D. Jakes would remind us, do not get drowned in shallow waters. Because the end of your journey, when you're getting to shore, when you're close to the shore, is when life seems most difficult. But we just have to keep on pressing and give up the thought of quitting or, not being bothered or just giving up. Just rebuke that spirit and those thoughts. We know that you have them. But if you are like the mayor of Toronto this morning, I'm watching him all weekend and even before I got on the air, and I'm saying this guy has a lot of spunk, muscle, faith, whatever it is, that he will not give up and he will not go down without a fight. So is it that we all should have that kind of fighting spirit? But we should indeed understand when we've made an error of judgment, we should actually just go keep quiet for a while and then come back? I'm not quite sure, because Mayor Ford is just, he's relentless. He just amazes me every time I see him on television. He gets mad, then he gets glad, then he gets calm, then he gets irate, then, he has a ton of emotion going at one time in one interview. And I simply just wonder about the guy. Yes, his spunk, and he's getting help, and yes, I take crack, but I'm not a crack addict, and yes, I did wrong things, and all those rich people who act as if they don't do anything wrong, screw them anyway, because they're all a bunch of crooks. He said it, I didn't. He said all rich people are a bunch of crooks. I'm just wondering, and yet he supported so much, even though he's a fiscal conservative, as they say, like some of the fiscal conservatives in this country who can't even keep their marriages together, and they get married 2 and 3 times and act as if they're perfect. So you just wonder, is it that politicians should put it all out there? Should President Obama just get mad and angry and tell us that he's going to fire some people in his administration for making him look so bad with the rollout of health care? The new Healthcare Affordable Care Act? That's what people want President Obama to do, is to behave like the Mayor of Canada. The Mayor of Toronto. Why do I keep saying that? Because Canada is, to me, just you're just thinking Canada. Canada, when you're seeing this guy, you're not thinking, oh, he's only the Mayor of Toronto. He is just speaking for Canada right now. So should we expect our president and our politicians in this country to be so blatantly, brutally honest, curse words and all, that they have to bleep out each time? The guy is just, I don't even know how to describe Mayor Ford of Toronto. He is just off the chain, as people would say. Off the chain. My goodness, I've never seen anyone, any politician in all my young years of, observing politics and being a news junkie. I've never seen anyone behave like that. So pardon me for being a little shocked. And seriously, all the people that are killing President Obama right now, Mitt Romney is saying he's lying, Dick Cheney is saying he's lying and has no integrity, says Ann Romney. Have they forgotten who they are? And that press secretary who was George Bush's press secretary on Morning Joe talking about, oh, this is President Obama's Katrina. Hello, people. Lots and lots of people died in Katrina, after Katrina, because the government did not want to take care of the black poor people. Remember? The Affordable Care Act has not killed anyone yet and will never kill anyone. The Affordable Care Act was designed and intended to help people who cannot get insurance and use the emergency rooms of our hospitals as their physician, their primary care physician. And this is my question to each and every one of you who are about to kill Obamacare because people got their policies canceled. Shouldn't those people have called in to the Affordable Care Act and see if they could actually get a better policy than the crap they probably had for much less? And even they had to pay a little bit more, it will be a better universal covered policy? Can we just look at it and take a positive spin? And I will continue to ask, why are we so obsessed about getting or finding our health care on that website? I would never, ever go to the government website to buy my health care insurance. I would rather go and sit in front of a human being who can guide me through all the different policies, tell me how I qualify, which one I qualify for. Why are we making such a big deal over this website? I would be very cautious in giving my information online on any government website anyway. What happened to the personal touch? When we bought insurance for our family on the open market when my husband had his business, someone came to our house and sat down and explained all the different policies. And yes, we had a crappy policy because it only allowed you to go to the doctor twice a year. And if you happen to get sick in between that, what happens? And there were all things that we did not like about the policy. But we bought it because at the time, that's what we could afford. So now that you have an opportunity to go to a website, and there are also you human beings that you can talk to if you're in a state that decided to go with the plan, expand Medicaid, set up their own exchanges, and also provide some jobs for that state maybe. Like some of those poor states that really need jobs that could have used the exchanges to provide jobs for their constituents. It's all about hate and jealousy. They're jealous because the black man is in the White House and they're not. It is obvious. Come on, people, stop pretending it is obvious. And all the Republicans around the country who did not expand Medicaid and who did not set up their own exchanges, it was never intended for the law to be forced on just the federal website and the federal government. It was designed just like Mitt Romney, who is now calling the president a liar. Who lies more than Mitt Romney? Who hates 47% of us anyway and thinks he can win an election for the presidency with white, old, rich men. Is he for real? And Dick Cheney, who lied about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq to go to war on the false pretenses, is have the nerve to call the president a liar? And that young woman who was on the Morning Joe needs not to be on television anymore, because it shows her disrespect for President Obama, talking about, oh, this is his Katrina moment. The Affordable Care Act and Katrina should never even be compared. The only comparison is that in Katrina, poor people were not being taken care of. And in the Affordable Care Act, the president is trying to take care of some of those poor people who just happen to have some white people involved in it. It's not just black people or Spanish people or immigrants for that matter. What is it that we continue to perpetuate the lie of Michelle Bachmann, Sarah Palin, Speaker Boehner, Eric Cantor, Paul Ryan, Ted Cruz, the leader of the pack, Mike Lee, and I could just go on and on and on. And those 36 Democrats who voted with the Republicans on Friday it was, you're a bunch of wimps, and all the Democrats in your district should not vote for you in 2014. Because again, I say to you people, politicians are not running for office to go and take care of your problems. They are going for their own power, their own financial gain, and the fact that they can live like a celebrity and have their drivers and their offices and those kinds of things. They don't give a damn about us. They really don't, because the 36 Democrats and all the other weaklings in the Democratic Party that are trying to talk against the Affordable Care Act, that's the reason I love Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who should still be Speaker. Because if she was the Speaker of the House, this would not be going on. And as she spoke and spoke well on Meet the Press yesterday, and spoke about the fact that they are not running away from the president or the Affordable Care Act, they're going to stand by it. That's a woman with spine and backbone, something that Speaker Boehner does not have and does not know what it is. Every day, all he can say, we need to get rid of this whole goddamn law. We need to scrap the whole thing. That's all he can say. That's all Speaker Boehner has to give, because he's listening to the part of his caucus that he has no control over, which is the Tea Partiers who went to Washington with one mission. You notice I'm holding up my two hands. One mission. Destroy and block everything that President Barack Obama does. Even if it is things that worked in Massachusetts, even if it's things that the Republicans agreed with before, even if it's things that the Heritage Foundation, now headed by DeMitt, supported in the past, all because Obama's name is attached to it, we shouldn't do it. If God was like man, I continue to say, what a thing that we would see in that Capitol every day. Because as they speak, God would just strike them dead. As they tell the lies, God would strike them dead. But God is not like man, you see. He's going to allow them to drown themselves. Because they will. The Republicans pretending to want to fix the law. No, they want to destroy, repeal the Affordable Care Act, which is already law. And I am pleading with each and every one of you right now. Anyone you know that had a junk policy, because that's what they are, and that's where the insurance company make most of their money, on junk policies. Tell them, take the time, go to a human being who knows about the Affordable Care Act in their state, find a better policy. They might just be pleasantly surprised that they will get a more comprehensive policy that costs them just what they were paying, less than what they were paying, or maybe just a little more. I'm not here to take up for President Obama, because yes, I think he should fire some people, and I do believe that this was botched and very much incompetence. But you gotta fix it. You can't throw out the baby with the bathwater, because it's still the intention to help 40 million Americans who cannot access health insurance. Because when they go to the emergency room for their health care, who do you think is paying? You and I, who have or claim or think we have great insurance until we get sick and go to the hospital, and we have to be there for more than 45 days, and there's a cap. And if you have a pre-existing condition, you're no longer covered. And if you're 26 and less in your age, you got to be kicked off your parents' policies. Let us just take the good, fix the bad, and move forward. This is the Diana Wright Show Live. We'll take a break and come back to you in just a moment. Yes, just a slither of a moment, because, you know, this is truly crazy what's going on in this country right now. Hello everyone, this is a season of giving, and I'm asking you to consider one of your gifts to be Deadly Negligence, written by yours truly, Diana Wright. A story that will give you hope, make you mad, shock you sometimes, but is bound to increase your faith and make you believe in miracles again. So please, give Deadly Negligence as a gift, as the gifting season begins to heat up. I am depending on you to do this for me. Thank you so much, and be the proud person to give a gift of the book Deadly Negligence. It's available on Amazon.com and on my website DianaWrightTV.webs.com. Thank you so much for my viewers around the world and in the United States. Be blessed. Okay, we are back and we are reminding you, yes, it is a holiday season and we know you're going to buy lots of presents. Why not just put Deadly Negligence in your stocking? Yeah, good gift, great gift for anyone. It will teach young people a whole lot of lessons about the fact that they're not invincible. An illness can strike anyone, and even when you go to the hospital with one little thing, there can be a crazy nurse that changes your life by being negligent, and a doctor. Okay? The fact that they have those degrees does not make them wise. The fact that they have those degrees does not make them good nurses or good doctors. Yeah. You need to investigate. You need to be there with your loved one. Never leave. If you have to go use the bathroom, make sure you get someone to sit in for you before you come back. Because maybe by the time you go and use the bathroom, they done killed your parents or your loved one. And they say it was an accident when it was actually their fault. Yes. So I'm here to remind you of doing that. And that's part of the lesson you learn by reading Deadly Negligence, written by yours truly. It's my daughter's story, but it's our journey as a family. Yeah? And you'll be surprised at some of the things you see in there, in some of the photographs in the center of the book, and also lots of what's being told. It's a true story. I left nothing out. It's all in there. Anyway, I want to do something a little different today because I want to talk about something that was raised on Facebook last week. It talked about a specific country of people, but I'm not going to name that country. I'm just going to say it in general, because I don't want any country to think I'm picking on them or whatever, because it's people in general. When it was stated that when so-and-so are good, they're really good. And when they're bad, they're really, really bad too. So how do we get people in general to just be good, better people? How do we get people to stop being crab in barrels who want no one to succeed but themselves? Who, when they see someone else succeeding, they won't lend a hand to help that person because they believe you're going to come in and outshine them and destroy them or whatever it is, or they'll lose their luster. What is it about us as human beings that make us hold a grudge? You can be the prime minister or the president or, you know, the chancellor or whatever, but you hold a grudge against someone in another party or someone in your party that you're going to show them that you're the boss. And what is it about us that make us want to continue to keep malice? Someone does you something that is truly bad and hurts your feelings to the core. Don't necessarily wait for their apology. The apology can come later. Forgive them because it eases you and takes care of you. When you have a forgiving spirit, you are never more than probably, give yourself a day to brood and to be mad and why did they do that to me, and I did so much and they're ungrateful or whatever. And even if you have it, your family member, and you have to put them out of your house, forgive. Do not keep malice. Do not hold grudges. I know of prime ministers and government people around different countries who hold a grudge and they will just try to fight against the other person to destroy them. What is the point? Why can't we just focus on who we are, the things we love about ourselves, try to make ourselves better, instead of always trying to crab in the barrel another human being? And lots of people from lots of countries go through that same thing, or islands, or whatever it is. The moment you seem like you're going to take off in a rocket, They are there to grab your legs and pull you back down. And yes, they're only on the bandwagon when you are succeeding. But the minute you lose or you fail or you falter, they're gone. When you win, you have 1,000 fathers. When you lose, you are an orphan. That's a great quotation that was said by someone anonymous, I think. So why do we insist on being just good when we're good and just really bad when we're bad? Can't we just meet in the middle somewhere and just try to be good? Try to be supportive of each other? Try to help when we can instead of thinking that we're not going to get any reward if we help. Oh! Why do we do that? You wrote a book and it was successful and you know the way to get there? Why can't you share that with someone else? Why can't you say to your agent or your distributor, I know this person and they're doing this and can you help them? Let the person who you're introducing them to say no. At least you tried to help. And then people will sit back and wonder, why is Diana so blessed? There's a reason why people are blessed. Because they don't hold grudges, they don't keep malice, and they don't use the pulpit to curse people out. Because some ministers do that, they use the pulpit to curse out an entire congregation when they're upset about something that was said about them. And they know who the person is. Why not just approach that person, hash it out with that person, and move on? And then it takes me to another place in all of this. Why is it, I have a lot of questions this morning that I'm going to just throw out to you and let you think about them. Why would you have someone who is demonic, who destroyed other ministers, who have done just bad, horrible things? But then what? They go out and open their own church? And they then expect God to send them members in that church? That cannot be the way God works. And yes, we are wondering, young people, about you. What is it that makes some of us just strive to do better, to go to college, to have an ambition about wanting to be something, to be somebody, to get this job, to start this business? And then there's another set of young people that they wrote about a couple weeks ago on the internet that have just checked out. They're not going to school, they're not working, they're doing nothing. What is it? I don't think my mom had to say to me, you got to go to college. You're in the land of opportunity, make use of it, is what I was told. And I tried my best to do so. And each one of you out there, what is the secret storm that you're going through that will allow you to not move forward? Because we all have secret storms, I might just be open about all of mine and tell you about it because I'm just me and that's how I am. I don't like to, harbor secrets. I will share my deepest thoughts with my audience like I've always done, whether it's radio or television or now online. No one is perfect. No one has a perfect life. But we need to punch back into our young people the spirit of having ambition, wanting to be something, wanting to do something, wanting to make a contribution to the world, to the planet. You can't just come and sit and lots of you just have babies. It's not all about sex. Why young people want to get married, it shouldn't be just about sex. It should be forming a union to have a family, to do great things together. Why do we do this? And then again I ask, why is it that some people are just so successful the Zuckerbergs and the Gates and the Forbes and they can throw parties for millions of dollars. And then there are some of us, some people who have nothing. People are homeless. People are sleeping in their cars. People have no food. Why is that? The questions I ask today is food for thought. I simply ask each and every one of you to think, to open up your mind and trying to give love, receive love, and then, of course, love yourself. Because I do believe that we can have a better world out there if we have less malice, less grudges, less jealousy, less envy. Can you imagine how great this country would have been? How our recovery would have been so robust if only the Republicans and especially the Tea Partiers in the Republican Party that just focusing on hating Obama, focusing on blocking Obama. Imagine the amount of jobs we could have created. How we could have fixed the infrastructure of this country. How we could educate poor and rich children alike. How we could try to make everyone either go to college and get a degree or find some skill that they have, some trade that they can pursue. Not everyone want to do the academic thing. There's so many things to choose from. So why do we operate from vengeance and hate all the time? This is something we truly have to deal with as a nation. We deal with things from a racist point of view. You have politicians pretending to be black to get the black vote. Just think about it. It is a new week. We're going into a new year. We should, as a people, make a conscious decision to be better, to give more love, and it will come back to you. Have a spirit of wanting to do something, make a difference. Stop the hate. Stop the envy of and the jealousy of President Obama, because that's all it is. And stop the lying, most of all. Mitt Romney need to stop lying. Ann Romney need to stop lying. Cheney need to stop lying and just enjoy the new heart that God has given him for some extra years. And try to do some good. Someone gave you his heart. Their heart. Why are you always just beating up on President Obama? Why is that? President Clinton needing to think before he speaks. Give it some more thought and make sure you're not speaking when you're tired. And the Benghazi thing is on our noses again. I saw it this morning on CNN. Benghazi, someone has the answers to Benghazi. What happened in Benghazi is partially the fault of the Republicans who blocked the money to take care of the security of our diplomats, not just in Benghazi, but around the world. Because they're all vulnerable. And like Benghazi was a hard stress post that was chosen by Stevens because he loved the people of that country. So before we listen to the politicians spew their hate for the President of the United States, as in President Barack Hussein Obama, let us take time to read for ourselves. Not just go on Facebook and chat a whole lot of crap. Go on Facebook and try to share what you know. Go on Google and Google things and expand your mind. And let us all try to be better in 2014. If there's anyone who knows me that can tell you, I never hold a grudge and I never keep malice. But I will always speak my truth, and tell you how I feel. It has served me well. Because my heart, I can go to my bed and I can sleep. Yeah, I may not be sleeping because of menopause or pre-menopause or whatever they call it. But I can go to sleep knowing there's no hate in my heart for anyone. Because I always get it out. And if I don't want to talk to that person in my anger, I talk to my walls in my house. I do. I truly do. When I'm by myself, I will come in and I will say, I am so sick of that person trying to do this to me or that to me. God, help me. Help me on my journey. Help me on my way. I will scream. I will cry out to God for his help. And if you don't believe in God, something is actually wrong with you, but I won't, put any hate on you for that. If you don't believe in God and his son Jesus, talk to someone else. Talk to the walls. And whoever you are glorifying. But let us move to a nation of love in 2014. Let's start now. Before Thanksgiving. Move it into Christmas and into the new year of 2014. Can somebody help me, please? Help me, help me, help me. Get this message out to all the members of the Tea Party, who I know that amongst you are people who need a better wage than $7.25, who need the Affordable Care Act, who need to have a better life and a better job, who are probably homeless or know someone who is. You want to tell me that all these Tea Partiers and all these Republicans, they're rich and they're wealthy, the ones there, but they don't have any family member that's struggling, that needs the Affordable Care Act, that's sleeping in their car, that has their house on the water, their mortgages on the water? You know no one? You can't help anyone? You can't be nice to anyone? We need to check this nation. And the hypocrisy and the continuous lying to people must stop. Because I'm telling you, God is watching, and nothing is passing him. He knows our hearts. He knows who we each are individually. And when you're spewing, oh, how conservative you are and how church going and, God fearing, why are you getting married twice? You can't keep one marriage going, or two? Or three? What's wrong with you? If you're so religious and so believing in the Bible and the things that the Bible says, and you must, wow, why aren't you practicing all of the Bible? You see, we take the parts of the Bible that suits us, and then we use that, and we forget about the other parts. Oh my gosh, we will take a break and come back to you in just a moment. This is the Diana Wright Show, live online. Remember, April 30th, 2014 is International I Love Me Day. I want you to start thinking about what will you do special for you on that day. Share it with me on Facebook and Twitter. And join the conversation on the Diana Wright Show, Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. We are live. The number to call, 561-228-1921. That's 561-228-1921. Join the conversation. Like us on Facebook and follow me on Twitter. Okay, we are back, and this is the Diana Wright Show live. We welcome you from around the world and in the United States. We ask for peace around the world. I'm just going to ask for love around the world. Because I think if we operate from a place of love for ourselves first, you must love yourself first, because if you don't love who you are, then it's hard to give it and it's hard to receive it. So I'm asking you today, I'm truly pleading with you, Let us be a nation of love for ourselves and for others. Let us stop rebuking and downing the poor. Let us try to be more encouraging and try to ask young people to open up their minds, get off their laurels, and be ambitious so we can have a better country for all of us to enjoy. So, while you're going to get that interview, I just want you to keep these things in mind. I kind of mentioned them on Friday, but I want to go through them individually today because I think it's important for us to know our rights about things that happen. So, when you go for an interview and they ask you, have you ever been arrested? An employer can't legally ask you about your arrest record, but they can ask if you've ever been convicted of a crime. So you see the difference? Have you ever been convicted of a crime, or have you ever been arrested? One is the right way and one is the wrong way. Depending on the state, because I wonder sometimes why we call it the United States of America, because every state has their own little thing going on. Because if all the states had cooperated with President Barack Obama and have all the exchanges done statewide and all of them accepted the Medicaid expansion, what a beautiful thing the Affordable Care Act would be. Yeah, the website for the federal government might still be malfunctioning, but at least every state, like Massachusetts, that worked under Romney, would be functioning today, and lots of those people who got those letters would have been able to go on their own state exchange and find a better policy. I guarantee you that. So, depending on the state, a conviction record shouldn't automatically disqualify you for employment unless it substantially relates to your job. So if you have committed a crime, it doesn't mean that no one will employ you, because there's always going to be someone out there who will give you a chance, an opportunity. Just think of Harry Potter. Remember, her book was sitting on shelves, several shelves, but one shelf, one man decided to take that down and read it. Hence, she's a millionaire. It only takes one person to believe in what you're doing, the book that you've written, and your efforts to give you a break. So when you pray, ask God to send you that one person. You only need one person. One person. One man believed in Oprah Winfrey when she moved from Baltimore to Chicago. One man, a white man, of course. It wasn't a black man. It doesn't have to be someone of your race. And that's the reason we need to open up ourselves to receive the love from whomever. And not just close ourselves in our little cocoon and don't want to come out. Just like some of us, we're from Jamaica, or we're from the Bahamas, or we're from this place, that place, Poland, whatever. We only eat our kind of food. We only want to hang out with our kind of people. We don't want to let anybody else in. No, that's not the way it's supposed to be. That's not the way God intended either. Remember, he went out into all the different areas and preached the gospel. He didn't stay in one place, one person's house. He didn't build a whole big fancy church. He did it in the street and in houses. Let's think about that as we go through this week, this holiday season that we all love to celebrate and eat ourselves into oblivion. Let's think about that. For example, if you've been convicted of statutory rape and you're applying for a teaching position, obviously you're not going to get that job. That's obvious. Number 2, the question might be, are you married? That's none of their business. Although the interviewer may ask you this question to see how much time you'll be able to commit to the job, it's illegal because it reveals your marital status and can also reveal your sexual orientation. So you might be married to a man or a woman, and that person that's interviewing you believe that marriage is between a man and a woman. I do believe that. But that should not be a question that they need to ask you. Number 3, what religious holidays do you practice? Now, what the hell does that have to do with anything? Seriously. Employers may want to ask you this to see if your lifestyle interferes with work schedules. So, if you're Jewish and you have to take off all those Jewish holidays, they don't want to hire you. Or if you just happen to be worshiping on a Sabbath, you keep the Sabbath on a Saturday and you never can work on a Saturday, they don't want to hear that. So they shouldn't ask the question. But this question reveals your religion, and that's illegal. That they can ask you if you're available to work on Sundays. You notice they put Sundays here and they didn't put Saturday? Now I'm going to add Saturday to that because I believe in the Sabbath. So I'm going to say they should not be asking you, about your religious holidays. They can then ask you, are you available to work on Saturday or Sunday? That's the legal way to ask the question. Number 4, do you have children? Well, I kind of laughed at that one. It is unlawful to deny someone employment if they have children or if they are planning to having children in the future. If the employer wants to find out how committed you will be to your job, they should ask questions about your work. For example, what hours can you work? Do you have responsibilities other than work that will interfere with specific job requirements such as traveling? Because obviously if you have kids and you have a husband, you're not likely to want to be told that you have to go to England tomorrow morning from New York for your job. Okay? So, there's a legal way and an illegal way for them to ask you. And please take the time to go online and research this before you go for an interview, because a lot of us, we go for an interview and we are beholding to the person who is interviewing us and we figure we have no rights. Yeah? Number 5. What country are you from? Well, that one really bugs me. It does. Because they go, oh, you have an accent. Everybody has an accent, people. Hello? Can you understand when I speak? Do you understand what I'm saying when I speak? Shouldn't that be the most important thing? As opposed to what country are you from? Now, if you have an accent, this may seem like an innocent question. I don't think it is an innocent question. I am totally offended by it. And I'm offended when broadcasting people, especially in this country, tell you, oh, you have an accent, so we can't hire you. Offense. But it's illegal because it involves your national origin. Employers can legally inquire about your nationality, but they can ask if you are authorized to work in a certain country. Totally different. Number 6. Is English your first language? Now, I know that a lot of Spanish people must be ticked off when they hear this question. Because, hello, it's obvious kind of thing, don't you think? I look Spanish. I have an accent, so what do you think? Anyway, it's not the employer's lawful right to know whether a language is your first language. In order to find out language proficiency, employers can ask you what other languages you read, speak, or write fluently. Now that's such a much nicer way to ask that question. Number 7. Do you have any outstanding debt? Now you do know that when you apply for a job these days, they're checking your credit too. Yes, they are. Employers must have permission before asking about your credit history. Similar to a criminal background history, they can't disqualify you from employment unless it directly affects your ability to perform the position you're interviewing for. Furthermore, they can't ask you how well you balance your personal finances or inquire about your owning property. Because you know they like to find out if you own your own house. So if you don't own your own house, that means you're not responsible. Wow. Number 8. Do you drink socially? Well, for me, that's easy. No, I don't. But for some people, that's not an easy question to answer, because they'll quickly think you're like Mayor Ford, who is a smoking crack kind of guy who pretends that he's not smoking crack, but when he gets caught, he says he's smoking crack, but he's not an addict. Who knew? Employers cannot ask about your drinking habits because it violates the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990. Did you know that act? Maybe you should research it a little bit. For example, if you're a recovering alcoholic, like Mayor Ford is telling us that he's working on it, he's going to the gym and he's getting help. Treatment of alcoholism is protected under this act, and you don't have to disclose any disability information before landing an official job offer. So if you're disabled in any way that is not obvious, you're not required to tell your employer that you are disabled. The Disabilities Act of 1990 covers you. Number 9. When was the last time you used drugs illegally? I don't know if Mayor Ford could answer this one. It's illegal for employers to ask you about past addiction, but they can ask you if you are currently using illegal drugs. A person who is currently using drugs is not protected under the ADA, under the Disabilities Act. For example, an employer may ask you, do you currently use illegal drugs? What illegal drugs have you used in the past 6 months? They're legally allowed to ask you that. So obviously no one asked Mayor Ford those questions. And we have to take a break and come back in just a moment. We must take a break and come back in just a moment. Back in a moment. Hello everyone. It doesn't matter who you are, how rich you are, how poor you are. But there has to be a point in your life, and you will come to that point, where you have to take someone you love to the hospital. But have you ever considered that you could take that loved one, in my case, my only child, to the hospital in a normal state, and then you leave 5 months later, brain damaged, in a wheelchair, without your senses? This is my true story, Deadly Negligence, the book, available on Amazon and at my website, dianawrighttv.webs.com. I'm asking you today to get a copy. Support my story. Let us get this out there, because this story will captivate you. It will shock you. It will give you hope. It will increase your faith and make you believe in miracles again. Thank you for picking up your copy today. And just in case you know Oprah Winfrey or Tyler Perry or Mr. Levinson, let them know this is worth a movie. Thank you. Get your copy today. Hello everyone. I am just asking you from around the world and in the United States to partner with the Diana Wright Show sponsor The Diana Wright Show or advertise on The Diana Wright Show. To do so, please call 561-228-1921. That's 561-228-1921. Please sponsor, partner with us, and advertise with us to make the show a big hit, just like you do by liking us on Facebook and following me on Twitter. Thank you so much. Don't forget the number to call, 561-228-1921. That's 561-228-1921. Also, we invite you to invite me to be at your event as a speaker and to tell you about my new book, Deadly Negligence. And so we encourage you to partner with us right here on The Diana Wright Show. Advertise with us and sponsor The Diana Wright Show. 561-228-1921. Thank you so much. Alrighty, we are back, and this is The Diana Wright Show live online. We do this every Monday through Friday from 10:30 to 11:30. We're live, and then you can see the show later on in the day, in the evening, when you get home from work and relax. Don't forget, you can watch the show on your iPhone, your Android, your iPad, any tablet, and also on your laptop and your desktop. Does anyone have desktops anymore? Everybody's doing everything on their phone these days. So you can take us with you and listen and watch the shows that you haven't seen, all right? And I'm truly asking each and every one of you, when you see this show today, please spread the love. Send the link to every person you know so that we can get into 2014 with loving ourselves, being a nation of love, and truly, truly, truly give love, receive love, and love ourselves. And stop the hate, please. Anyway, number 10, how long have you been working? You know, they like to ask you that because you took time off to take care of a sick child, or you took a little time off from work, and then you go back and they're trying to make you feel like, wow, you should not have done that. This question allows employers to guess your age. They want to think you're old, so please, people, when you're doing your resume, don't put those years there, okay? Just state what you do and what you did, because then they start calculating, and then they're realizing these days that the older workers are actually better because the young people can't even write a memo. Yeah, young people cannot even write a memo or a proper letter. And they're not reliable. They're not as punctual. And they don't have any wisdom and knowledge that you have. So trust me, lots of companies now are turning to older people to come and help them with these young people that they thought were the greatest thing since sliced bread and the internet. Anyway, so it goes. Similarly, they can't ask you what year you graduated from high school or college, or even your birthday. So when you're filling out those forms, just leave the birthday thing blank. Tell them, I told you so, because it's illegal. However, they can ask you how long you've been working in a certain industry. So like me, I've been working in the broadcasting industry from the first day I started working. From I was in college, long before I graduated from college. I have been in this field of broadcasting. Yes. Imagine that. Number 11. What type of discharge did you receive in the military? Now, for those of us who've never served in the military, and we love those who serve, even though I think sometimes people should, we talk about military people as if they're doing us a favor. They're really not. They chose to go into the military. Some of them chose to go into the military because they, for one, did not want to work hard in high school. They either failed and they could go in, because now they've changed the rules that you have to actually graduate and have a high school diploma. But I think Senator Kerry said it one time when he was running for president and people almost killed him, but it is indeed the truth. We should be able to speak the truth without being vilified. Lots of people go into the military, and I know, and I have family members who just didn't choose to do well in school, so the military was their final option. So they go into the military, and then they complain when they have to go to war. And then they want special treatment. Yes, we should provide for them, and yes, we should do all the good things, but we should not feel so bad that they chose that profession. Because they chose it. Remember, no one is drafted anymore. So they chose it. And if you choose a profession, you should know the downfalls of that profession, the dangers of that profession before you go into it. I chose broadcasting, and I also knew that my accent would have created a problem for me in the United States. No place else. Even though my professor kept saying, no, you're good, stay, do this. They will accept you. Oh yes, they will take the British accent and all the other accents. But what's wrong with mine? So that's the reason I try to do my own thing. And I've always done that for the past couple of years. Not couple, a long time. I've been doing it on my own. Doing my own thing, getting it on television. The Diana Wright Show, I own it. Because I chose to do that and get it on television in Jamaica, in London, in Florida. So whatever we choose to do, we should know the dangers of the profession. We should not be choosing that profession because of the benefits that we're going to get, the money we're going to get. We should choose it because that is what we truly want to do, and we must think about the dangers and the shortfalls of that particular thing that we choose. So this is not appropriate for the interviewer to ask you, but they can ask what type of education, training, or work experience you've received while in the military. So yes, we appreciate what our military people do when they go to war, especially wars that was totally not necessary, like the Iraq War. But we should not feel like we told them to go there and do that, because they chose. Life is about choices, and we all have choices. And any choice you make in your life, you should think about the consequences of that choice. If you don't like what the consequences are showing you, do not make that choice. That's where we leave you today. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is the Diana Wright Show Live. We welcome you from around the world and in the United States. And we thank you for all those of you who are liking us on Facebook from Africa and all over the country. The world, actually, I should say. Did I get something from Iceland over the weekend? I appreciate you. And I thank you. But the choices you make is your responsibility. We are all free to make choices, and we should think about the consequences of what we're about to do before we do it. If we cannot live with the consequences, then I say to you, don't do it at all. Continue to say the 3 magic words, I love me. Thank you for joining me.